Breeding season is just around the corner. It's time to make plans as to what in the world we're going to do for this year's pairings to get the best project results. Today, I'll show you how. What's up, all you good people of the ball python community? It is Adam from Proper Royals. Thank you for joining me today. If we haven't met here before, this whole channel is about my family's journey from hobbyist to ball python business. Today, I want to talk about how we choose our breeding pairs for our ball python projects. I know it sounds simple, but what I found is that as the collection grows, you start to forget specific genes, hets, possibles that maybe you want to pair out, like parental pairings of the snakes that you have that you think maybe is in there or maybe not. And then where you're at and where you're going. You got to have your goal in mind as well. You can't just go willy-nilly on these things. You'll have years escape you. If you don't think through the ramifications of what you breed and what you're producing, particularly when it comes to recessive goals down the line, you could lose out on a year right away. And honestly, the odds are already stacked tough enough against us. There's so many variables with whether the snakes will go, if you can time the breeding right, if the eggs all grow to fruition. I've seen really great breeders, even one this year that I just have a huge amount of respect for. He's gotten nothing but slugs, and then he got a bacteria infestation in his eggs as well, so they didn't make it. So he really kind of lost out on a year, and this is a big time dude. So the things that we can control, like planning and decision making, we need to do the very best that we can. So my main thought is to share with you my process. I'm a very process driven person when it comes to business, both in my professional career of restaurants. I think processes are incredibly important. How do you make the same product great every time in a consistent manner? You do that through processes. And granted, we're talking about live animals and what Mother Nature can put out, so we're going to leave that up to the hands of Mother Nature, but the decision making can be a standardized process. And today I'll share mine with you. The goal is to have thorough, purposeful, mindful decisions. If we stay focused, better things happen, better results come out, investments pay off. I'm gonna take you over to my computer desk, and I actually do this pretty old school. I draw things out, I draw the lines myself, I love to feel the pencil on the paper. I'll turn it into a spreadsheet later. So I'm gonna show you the manual way that I cook all this up. I love analog touch. There's so much in our lives that has become digitized, but I really enjoy the process of coming up with these breeding plans, of thinking about my animals, of envisioning what I want to see come to life in the future from pairing them and the beautiful potential. And there's something about pencil to paper or pen to paper that connects me to the project far more than I will ever get connected on a computer screen. If you think I'm joking, I'm a real nut. I list out the females that will be ready by weight. I list their genes. I do all that because I'm very familiar with these animals, but in this way, what I don't want to do is go down a rabbit hole of a decision that I think I've already made. I want to enter this with a totally clear mind. My goals might have changed since last year. They might have evolved. I might have had an aha moment. I might have picked up an amazing animal that steered a project in a different direction. So what I do, these are the sheets. It ends up looking like this, and I'm going to pop it up on the screen right next to me. On the left-hand side, I list the females, and you'll see those right down the left-hand side there. And I name all my animals. It helps kind of tie me to them and keep them in the forefront of my mind. It helps me keep them organized too. That's just mine. So I have Nyx, who's a xanthic. Kalani is a leopard hat pied. Otria is an orange dream cinnamon, possible yellow belly. I have Jenny, who is a pastel het cryptic. Lucille is a normal, and Persephone is a het pied het albino, and Letty is a coral glow het ghost. Now, I'm not going to go through today and tell you every decision that I make. We're just using this as an example, so we'll look at this on a bigger macro scale rather than a micro examination of every pairing that I'm going to do. Next, on the right-hand side, what I do is I list all the males in the same way. So you see on the right there, I got Johnny, Lefty, Strike, Jethro, Quentin, and Rook. And what I do then is I actually systematically go through what would be the result. I don't even worry about what my goals are right now. Just what would be the result if I paired a female to every other potential male mate. And I think through those. So for example, what would happen if I paired Nix with Johnny? I could potentially have, not potentially, they would all the offspring would be 100% axanthic. Okay, het axanthic, excuse me. So, okay, that's pretty cool because I do want to advance my axanthic project, so that's an option. They would be 50% het pied. Myself, I don't like dealing in possible hets. I like at least 66% het. So that to me is a takeaway from it. I don't really have, it doesn't add much from a sales standpoint, and I can't back up that sale. Secondly, I don't think I have the time to grow up that animal and then hope to prove it out on a 50% basis. Not when I can do it better. So we could get half of the clutch statistically would be Orange Dream. They would be 100% het axanthic and 50% het pied. Not ideal, other than het axanthics, especially females, bring a little bit of cash. Okay, not bad. I would do that exercise the whole way through, and when I found something that struck my passion, was a good financial decision from a business standpoint, and you got to think too that each male, really you only want to have each male breeding with 3 to 4 females. Yes, that you can do more. It's not ideal, and males will breed themselves to death, so be careful on that. With this animal, with Nix, this female, what I ended up doing, really my highest priority and the longest, most investment long-term project it's going to take from me to produce is an axanthic clown project. And I have a male visual clown and I have this female visual axanthic. The right answer for me is to produce guaranteed 100% double het axanthic clown. And then what I will do is I'll have the opportunity to hold back males or females that I wish and get them growing and bring a good financial return from the remainder of the clutch that I don't keep. So that is how I make these pairing decisions. What I do is I start with this sheet, and eventually I end up with this visual kind of cacophony of noise. But what it is, if you look, a line from each female to each male, and on that line I ID what my best outcome is, or what my goal is. So if you look here, Nix to Strike is the name of the two snakes. The female is Nix, the male is Strike. I'm looking for double het axanthic clowns. The best outcome would be a pastel double het axanthic clown, but axanthic clown is the priority. If you look down to Kalani, hers gets a little bit complicated. Kalani is the next female down. She's a leopard het pied. My primary goal is to pair her with a male named Rook, who's an Enchi yellow belly het pied. So my first priority is an Enchi yellow belly leopard pied. Fantastic, odds are slim, but that's my goal. I want to go after it, and anything under it I get is still pretty cool. However, I am going to pair her every now and again with a second one named Johnny, because Rook is a new addition. He's an unproven breeder, and I'm not going to put all my eggs in his basket until I know he's a proven breeder. That is how I go through and identify those, and as you start drawing lines, you start prioritizing. As you see, Strike has 3 females that he's going to be paired with. So Strike is out of the game for any additional. The other option is a wider breeding season and year-round breeding. So what I could do in this instance, see this female named Jenny, she's actually ready to breed physically size-wise right now. She's not showing any signs of bull wrapping or building. However, she skipped last breeding season. So what I think I'm going to do is start pairing Strike with Jenny right now in the hopes that I see evidence that she's building, and maybe if I get lucky I'll see an ovulation before I start focusing on the other 2 females. That will give Strike a little bit of time to recuperate, put less pressure on him in the same month of pairing time. So that's another consideration when you're going through making your breeding plans is when you're going to focus the breeding. And I don't have an ultrasound. Monthly pairing year-round kind of hedges your bet against needing an ultrasound. But you need to make sure you're keeping your males and your females, but your males certainly healthy. You need to make sure your females are up to size and have had time to recuperate from last breeding season, especially if they bred and laid last breeding season. The last thing I do, because admittedly this is a bit of a mess to look at, the last thing I do is I streamline the results. I make kind of a new spreadsheet, and again, I'm just using my pencil and paper, mostly just because I enjoy it and I get fulfillment out of it. I'll move this into a spreadsheet later. On the left, I have the females, and the center column, I have the males. And the males are the breeding program that we landed on after going through the exercises mentioned earlier in this video. And so again, sticking with Nix and Strike, you see that Nix is getting paired with the male named Strike, and that goal or outcome is double het axanthic clowns. Now I say that's a goal. As long as they breed and she lays, that is what will happen. That's one of those pairings that you know exactly what the outcome is going to be. Most of the time you're rolling the dice and hoping for a goal, but that is a guaranteed outcome. I continue through it. If I have 2 pairings, I'll have, in the case of Kalani here on the second female down, her first priority breeding is Rook. I'll probably breed her 2-to-1 Rook to the other guy. But again, I'm breeding her to Johnny as a hedge to make sure that we get something out of the season with Kalani. And you see the difference. Goal number 1 is a leopard enchi yellow belly pied. The goal number 2 would be a leopard orange dream pied. I'm cool with either one. I get any visual pieds, I'm pumped from this. It's a head-to-head, so any visual pieds are going to be great. What you don't see on here is behind that, I have a female visual ghost that'll be ready probably by January. I'll start pairing her. I don't know if that'll be too late for breeding or not. We'll see. And then I have a lavender, same boat. She'll be ready around January as well. So I'll do this exercise again as we get our female ghost and our female lavender into the mix as well. So that is how I go through my breeding program. Keep it right here on the Proper Royals channel to see how these breeding projects turn out and to keep up with everything that we have going on here in our family hobby. Until next time, see ya!